Welcome to Astrology with Tess. Today's episode is called Pluto, the Hidden Physics of Power. Pack your ice bags and lightest garments. We are going on a trip to hell. Your garments will likely be shed at the gates, along with the ice packs. Nonetheless, join me. We will ponder the tales and mysteries of the underworld, in hopes that it may shed some light on the hidden physics of power. To the Greeks, hell was a place where Hades, otherwise known as Pluto, co-ruled with his wife Persephone. They were the king and queen of the underworld, and quite a team. They were said to rule very well together. There wasn't the cheating or constant disputing that was typical of other married gods, like Zeus and Hera. They shared their power equally. Of course, their union began with an abuse of power. Hades rose up from the earth one day and abducted Persephone as she was picking flowers. Persephone actually went by the name Kor at that time. He brought her to hell and made her his wife. It was when she became queen of hell that her name changed to Persephone, which comes from the Greek roots for destroy and murder. In contrast, Kor in Greek means maiden or purity. In her grief over her daughter's abduction, Demeter, the goddess of the earth, refused to let crops grow. This eventually got Zeus involved. He was about to let Persephone leave hell for good, but then found out that she had eaten 6 pomegranate seeds. Because of this simple act, she had to stay with Hades as queen of hell for 1/3 of the year. This of course marks the time of winter when no crops grow, but she was allowed to be above ground with her mother for the rest of the year. Why did the pomegranate seeds make her have to stay? In Greek, pomegranate means apple with many seeds. This tempting fruit is packed with the promise of new life. And a new life she did get. Innocence turned out to be a worthy price to pay for this new life. The new life was a life of balance, a life that integrates what is buried deep down inside with what is cultivated on the outside. She found a balance with her husband and a balance with her mother. The earth found a balance in the seasons. Hades found a better balance too. With his queen, he ruled better. He knew hell needed that primordial female touch. He knew the wisdom of the depths was a feminine one. There was even a name for this wisdom. It was called serpent wisdom. Wisdom and serpents go hand in hand in many ancient cultures, from the Minoan snake goddesses, to the Egyptian cobra goddess Neith, to the Aztecs Quetzalcoatl. Serpents hold a wisdom that we stand to learn from. For most of us, snakes are scary. It's something in the way they move, so slithery. It's the way they move, the way they writhe. Writhing is defined as making continual twisting movements. Snakes go underground, writhing among the roots of trees, which also writhe. as they continue to twist through the soil. The continual twist of the serpent's wisdom is depicted in Hermes caduceus, a symbol for healing still employed by doctors today. This symbol is associated with the Kundalini, a powerful energy that lies coiled and sleeping at the base of the spine, and when awakened, travels and twists up the body with inner power. It's the continual twisting of the snake that allows him to shed his skin, and thus symbolically be reborn. In our bodies, strands of DNA continually twist and provide all instruction for the function of living cells, which are constantly dying and being reborn. The continual twist is seen in the figure 8, which when horizontal represents infinity. Scorpio, the sign associated with Pluto, is the 8th sign of the zodiac. Snakes don't have external ears. They have internal ears only. We have external, middle, and inner ears. Our world of sound is very different than that of the serpent. In the outer ear, our eardrum vibrates the sound. Then it is amplified in the middle ear, and finally translated into electricity in the inner ear, so our brains can make sense of it all. The snakes skip those first 2 steps. Instead of an eardrum, their jaw actually picks up the vibrations as it moves along the ground, and the inner ear makes sense of it all. Inner ears are essential in maintaining balance. Metaphorically, we have already explored the serpent's wisdom being connected to a life of better balance. Having an inner ear only. Could this be best at hearing an inner voice? In Greek, Hades means hidden one. He possessed a helmet of invisibility long before Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility. Once again, this points to an energy that is hidden. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars, the planet of motivation and desire. So now, on a grander scale, we have motivation and desire that is hidden. Pluto was discovered in 1930, when depth psychology was just coming on the scene.
Tell me about your mother.
Depth psychology involves uncovering buried emotions and beliefs, so that you can free up your psyche with new life. Before depth psychology, there was the shaman that would assist you in retrieving lost power. He might make some strange potions, dance and chant in elaborate costume, but he never gave you power out of thin air. He restored your power to you, because this power was only lost. In physics, power means energy. The law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created or destroyed. It can only change form. Rage, despair, jealousy, happiness, glee, ecstasy, it's all energy. Can't be created, can't be destroyed. It's just changing form, continually twisting. No death without rebirth. Einstein was able to simplify our understanding of life on the largest scale when he came up with his theory of relativity. He did this by merging the dimensions of space and time into one continuum. This new fabric of space-time could now bend under the influence of gravity. But gravity proved to be a bit of a stumper to the world of quantum mechanics. As great minds attempted to understand the working of the smallest scales of life, their models for understanding could not seem to describe gravity. Gravity was the big thing in space, and it had no place in the smallest subatomic realm. There was no grand marriage of understanding, from the microscopic to the macroscopic. And though it has yet to be tested, there is one theory that shows a lot of promise in uniting these two worlds. That theory is called string theory. Now, instead of particles making up the world, the theory sees the world made up of infinitesimally small strings that vibrate the world into existence. Instead of particles that just move, strings can oscillate in different ways. There is no direct experimental evidence that string theory works. The correct description that unites all of nature is waiting to be proven. Still, with string theory, can't help but sense the serpent wisdom at work. Friedrich Nietzsche has Pluto, the planet of power, in willful Aries, opposite his Libra sun. A prominent concept in his philosophy is the will to power. This was a metaphysical concept, an explanation for the emergence of life. He believed that the basic elements of the natural world each had an inner will, and in that sense, all elements of the natural world are alive. Nietzsche was a skeptic at heart. He saw his beliefs more as interpretations and welcomed objections to these ideas. He understood that some ideas need to die to make room for new ideas that are closer to the truth. Frida Kahlo has Pluto conjunct Venus in stimulating Gemini and square hard knocks Saturn. She is widely known for her self-portraits, often expressing her physical pain and suffering through provocative symbols. Her femininity and self-image, Venus, merged with the planet of death and rebirth, and in tension with the planet of real-life difficulty, Saturn. She stands proud as Persephone would, in befriending and transmuting such pain. She once said, "I tried to drown my sorrows, but the bastards learned how to swim. And now, I am overwhelmed by this decent and good feeling." Talk about restored power. Mahatma Gandhi has Pluto conjunct Jupiter in earthy Taurus. His power fused with his beliefs, firmly founded upon ahimsa, which means total nonviolence. Listen to a few seconds of him talking about his beliefs, and tell me you don't hear the serpent wisdom of Pluto.
I do dimly perceive that whilst everything around me is ever changing, ever dying, there is underlying all that change a living power that is changeless, that holds all together, that creates, dissolves, and recreates.
In closing, reclaiming lost power often involves retracing your steps to where you lost it. Was it in that belief that you should be more like so-and-so? Was it when you stopped listening to your inner voice? Was it in following a dream that was never yours to begin with? Take a minute now as we ascend back to the light of day, amidst the familiar sounds and the rich oxygen. Take a minute and examine your relationship with your own power. How much of it is here? How much of it is missing? How much of it is false? How much of it is realer than real? Plato said, "The measure of a man is what he does with power." Reclaiming lost power starts with remembering the scorpionic feminine wisdom of its physics. Energy doesn't die, it just changes shape. To be in touch with such continual energy is to have depth, to welcome the light and the dark, to cherish and protect balance, to be truly powerful. Until next time, happy astro pondering.